coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We are live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We are so pleased that you are with us on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday and you hear the cry of no justice, no peace, you know this is where the action is. Our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. The chairman of our board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, senior pastor at Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm attorney Michael Hardy. We'll be with you throughout the broadcast this morning. We are so pleased to have with us this morning for our inspirational word segment. He is the New Jersey Northeast Regional Coordinator for National Action Network. He's the senior pastor at New Hope Baptist Church in Elizabeth, New Jersey. He is the Honorable Reverend Steffi Bartley. Also, if it's Saturday, you know Katrina Jefferson, the coordinator of all things here at National Action Network and the liaison to President Sharpton, will be here to ask you what's on your mind. That's right. She wants to know what you're thinking about, and there's so much happening all across the world, all across your neighborhoods, wherever you are, including what happened in Memphis, Tennessee, and you should have something on your mind that you're thinking about that you want to share with Katrina Jefferson. If you've not had an opportunity to do so, you can still share with her. You can call 877-626-4651, or you can email what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. And of course, if it's Saturday, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, is in the house. So you want to call somebody, tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. Brothers and sisters, we always remind you that the Nan Youth Huddle will meet on Monday, January 30th, right here at the House of Justice Auditorium, beginning at 6 p.m. We want you to spread the word and get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call 877-626-4651, or you can email nanayouthhuddle@gmail.com. Also today, 5 p.m., tomorrow, 5 p.m., today, Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m., tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. That's today, Saturday at 5 p.m., tomorrow, Sunday at 5 p.m. Tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. And then very quickly, want to give a huge thank you to all of the attorneys and all of the staff here at National Action Network that works on legal night. We came back live for the first time since the pandemic had begun, almost 3 years, and we had a great legal night, incorporated all of the Zoom into it, so we had people from all over the country participating, including all of those who were back live in the House of Justice, and we give tremendous thanks to everyone who brought us the last Thursday of the month. It was legal night at National Action Network, and we thank everybody who helped bring us back in the right way, and we'll see everybody again on the last Thursday of February. But right now, Dr. Alvin Ponder has got some additional information for you. He's the Vice President of the New York City chapter.
Thank you, Attorney Hardy. Good morning, brothers and sisters, listeners and viewers, and thank you for tuning in to another Saturday Action Rally with the National Action Network. Here's some information to keep you in the know. Reverend Sharpton to eulogize Tyree Nichols on Tuesday in Memphis. Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy on Tuesday at the funeral of Tyree Nichols, the Memphis man who was beaten and killed by 5 police officers following a traffic stop. Earlier this week, prosecutors announced that the police officers would be charged with murder. They were previously fired from their jobs. Reverend Sharpton said, "The charges against the police officers who brutally killed Tyree Nichols in Memphis are a necessary first step in delivering justice for Tyree and his family, although nothing will ever be enough to fill the void that his loss has left. There is no point to putting a body camera on a cop if you aren't going to hold them accountable when the footage shows them relentlessly beating a man to death. Firings are not enough. Indictments and arrests are not convictions. As we've done in the past with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and others, we will stand by this family until justice is done. A conviction sends a message to the nation that cops cannot hide behind their badge after committing a heinous action like this. The funeral will be held at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, located at 70 North Bellevue Boulevard in Memphis on Wednesday, February 1st at 10:30 a.m. In addition to Reverend Sharpton, civil rights attorney Ben Crump will also be in attendance to deliver a call to action. Attorney Ben Crump and the parents of Tyree Nichols will be on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on this Sunday, tomorrow, January 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on MSNBC. Make sure you tune in. Reverend Sharpton speaks at African American Faith Leaders Summit. Reverend Sharpton joined scores of clergy leaders on Thursday for the African American Faith Leaders convened by U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand. During his remarks, Reverend Sharpton said, quote, "In such a milestone year for civil rights, it is tempting to celebrate the progress we have seen in the past 6 decades. But the truth of the matter is that we cannot afford to be so caught up with celebrations that we do not seize the opportunity to act upon the reality that the threats of our democracy and civil liberties are at historic levels, and Black Americans continue to bear the weight of. It is in this spirit that the African American Faith Leaders Summit has been convened. In 2023, it is quintessential that as Black faith leaders and justice advocates, we have the support of our elected officials to continue the work of dismantling structures that stand in the way of equity, safety, and well-being for all Americans. In addition to Reverend Sharpton, Reverend A.R. Bernard, pastor of Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn, was a speaker among others, including Senator Raphael Warnock and Senator Chuck Schumer. Loudmouth, now streaming on Apple TV and Amazon. Amazon and Apple TV have started streaming Loudmouth, The Life and Battles of Al Sharpton, on its platform. Join the National Action Network in support of this documentary that chronicles Reverend Al Sharpton's activism. Consider hosting a watch party for our National 2023 Kickoff Tour. Save the date. National Action Network's 2023 convention will be held at the Sheraton New York Times Square Hotel in New York City from April 12th through 15th. Again, that's 12th through 15th of April. Save the date and visit nationalactionnetwork.net daily for registration and schedule updates. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us also via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at the National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us and or if you're not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit again as www.nationalactionnetwork.net or just call 877-626-4651. That's 877-626-4651. Or just text the word NAN, N-A-N, to 59769. Welcome.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ponda, for those informations. Right now, brothers and sisters, Katrina Jefferson, she's the liaison to President Sharpton and the coordinator of all things here at National Action Network, wants to know what's on your mind. Katrina, good morning.
Good morning, Attorney Hardy, and good morning to each and every one of you who are here live here at the House of Justice. To those that are watching by way of our live streaming platforms on our Facebook page and at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and to those that are listening by way of WLIB 1190 AM, welcome to another weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind, where you, the community, you, the membership base, have the opportunity to interact with us here at the National Action Network by sending us your thoughts, your viewpoints. Maybe it's a conversation you overheard while you were in transit this weekend. Well, guess what? This is the space for you. You can email us 24 hours a day at What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, or you may call us at 877-626-4651. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you are from, and share with us briefly what is on your mind.
Good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. My name is Sister Reverend Word. I'm from Heaven, born in Harlem. I'm 71 years old and new, and I'm a National Action Network lifetime member. Of course, what's on my mind is Bible scriptures. And according to Bible scripture, John 7:24, Christ Jesus gave us the authority to judge not by appearance, but judge righteous judgment. I'm gonna keep this brief. We know what the top story is today, but I respectfully suggest that these elected officials use their righteous judgment and consider giving each and every police officer a questionnaire that simply asks them to answer yes or no. Do they want the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? Yes or no? The police precincts need to know what's on the mind of each police officer pertaining to this potential federal law that obviously is necessary for all of our protection. So God bless you all and good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and briefly share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning, Nan family. I just thank God, like the sister said, if these people don't understand, y'all wear this uniform to what? Protect and serve the people that live in the city or around the world. Something's wrong with them. They mind. God bless.
Thank you so much for sharing. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and briefly tell us what's on your mind.
Hi, good morning. My name is Aure Mangual. I am a retiree of District 37. I first want to say my condolences to the family for this brutal assault on the young man. But what's on my mind today is that I want to thank the councilwoman for this district, Kristen Richardson, for now voting for the amendment of the Administrative Code 12126 that would have effective negatively on retirees from DC 37 and many other locals. And so that code has been on the books since 1967, 55 years, and it protects the public servant of the city, all public employees. And I do want to thank the Councilwoman Richardson for not voting to amend this code, which would have been detrimental to many citizens and their dependents. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for sharing. All right, just a quick announcement before I share 2 emails that came through. Today, immediately following the rally, the Political Action Committee will be meeting here in our House of Justice auditorium. So if you are looking for an opportunity to join like-minded individuals and get into the action from a political standpoint, you can join the Political Action Committee today, immediately following today's program at 11:30 a.m. And if you are unable to get here in the House and you are listening or watching, you may call us at 877-626-4651. Ask for Katrina, and we'll make sure to get you connected to that committee chair. Also, just a reminder, Saturday, February 4th will be our Black History Month celebration here at the House of Justice, and so you are all welcome to attend. If you are here in the House, we have flyers available on the counter. You can take one with you, share with your community, your neighbors and friends, and make sure the house is packed out as we celebrate Black History Month on Saturday, February 4th. Program will begin at 12:30 p.m. Now on to an email that came through from a John Beard out of Columbus, Ohio. Dear Reverend Sharpton, greetings. We met in 2014 when you honored me by naming me the Rejected Stone sweepstake winner. I subsequently came to New York to meet you. And then you came to my office in Columbus, Ohio, as we established the Greater Columbus chapter of the National Action Network, aka the Columbus Action Network, led by Reverend Joel L. King. Unfortunately, the chapter didn't survive, but the work has going on and moving forward. We continue to fight the good fight and push for positive change. In March, a report was issued showing that 51% of Columbus's Black renters were living in housing that was unaffordable to them, up from 42% 20 years before. And sadly, under a Black mayor, Columbus's longest serving mayor, and an improbable majority Black council elected at large in a majority white electorate, which we have been fighting under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Ohio's reactionary politic is just a part of a larger movement, Rev, where the radical right is aggressively seeking to consolidate and control all aspects of law and society before 2045, when, as you know, whites are projected to become a numerical minority. The white right sees 2045 as an existential threat to their dominance, and as the calendar moves forward, they are growing increasingly emboldened and violent to secure a country they see as their own. If they want to play replacement theory, game on. We can, must, and will accelerate their loss of political power if we are to build a future free of violent subjugation. To that end, I am proposing bold action in support of our Constitution to Chairman Harrison and the DNC, a mass movement led by young people. Now, I don't know Chair Harrison, and I hope this meets with your enthusiastic support and you can support it in conversation with him and encourage him to meet with me. If you are interested in this concept of aggressively moving into electoral districts, I would love to talk with you about how to quietly mobilize to get this done. Specifically, can you help me get a meeting with DN Chair Harrison? Thanking you for all you do and for your anticipated support in changing this country's politics by mobilizing young people around economic opportunity. Sincerely, Jonathan C. Beard. And he's out of Columbus, Ohio. And we're going to conclude this weekend's conversation with an email from our very own Rodney Jones of Queens, New York. And the subject is the history of the U.S. public debt. The history of the United States public debt started with federal government debt incurred during the American Revolutionary War by the first U.S. Treasurer, Michael Hillegas, after the country's formation in 1776. The United States has continuously had a fluctuating public debt since then, except for about a year during 1835-1836. The United States public debt as a percentage of GDP reached its highest level during Harry Truman's first presidential term, during and after World War II. Public debt as a percentage of GDP fell rapidly in the post-war World War II period and reached a low in 1973 under President Richard Nixon. The U.S. public debt rose dramatically during the 2019-2021 COVID-19 pandemic due to emergency measures to sustain the economy during large-scale economic retraction in most industries with concomitant high unemployment. No Justice, No Peace. And that was submitted by our very own Rodney Jones. And that concludes this weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind. Keep in mind, everything you heard here was simply the thoughts and the viewpoints of the contributors and do not reflect those of the National Action Network directly. And you can interact with us 24 hours a day. Yes, 24, by emailing us at What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, or you may call us at 877-626-4651. Back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right, thank you, Katrina Jefferson. Brothers and sisters, we're going to bring you in the house. What does that mean? That means we're going to talk to you about some of the work of the committees here in the House of Justice. And this morning, Dawn Jones, the chairman of the Political Action Committee here at National Action Network, is going to bring you in the house.
Greetings, House of Justice family and friends, and happy Saturday. I greet you all with the joy of Jesus. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We welcome you all to the Saturday Action Rally experience. We thank our fearless leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, for his consistent, dynamic leadership. On a sad note, we offer deepest condolences to the family of Tyree Nichols, killed by the Memphis, Tennessee police, and we continue to send sincere sympathy to the family of Bernard Placid Jr., murdered by the Inglewood police, who have been coming to the rallies. A huge thank you to NANPAC co-chair Jewel Gittens, who has been in attendance at each and every of the City Council hearings. Please keep NANPAC members Leonard Bentley and Catherine Nixon in your thoughts and prayers, who are sick and shut in at Greater Harlem Nursing Home and Throgs Neck Rehabilitation Center. My name is Dornell Jones, and I am the National Board Member and Chairwoman of the National Action Network Political Action Committee. The National Action Network Political Action Committee will hold our next scheduled April is National Financial Literacy Month, 5th Saturday Voter Education Project Series will be held on Saturday, April 29, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. Program begins. Every 5th Saturday we host for a 5th Saturday Voter Education Forum Project Series. Last year we hosted forums on gerrymandering, financing, redistricting, regentrification, with a discussion and emphasis on can I vote in New York State with a criminal record. A huge part of our committee's efforts center around voters' rights and voter registration, not just in election year, but on the local level as well. We hosted a voter registration and information drives in front of the House of Justice with the Nan Disability Committee every Saturday during the months of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and October until the voter registration deadline the same month. We will continue to register voters at Rikers Island and ask for volunteers at our monthly meetings with Victor Pate, Chairman, Second Chance Committee. Our next scheduled April is National Financial Literacy Month. 5th Saturday Voter Education Forum will be held right here at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem on Saturday, April 29th, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. Program begins. The purpose of this forum is a further discussion of focus on our finances. Our next scheduled meeting is on today, Saturday, January 28, 2023 at 11:30 a.m. The purpose of our meeting is the briefing of our 5th Saturday Voter Education Project Forum Series, end of the year Kwanzaa celebration on Can I Vote in New York with a Criminal Record in New York State. I boarded a bus to Albany for Governor Kathy Hochul's State of the State address with Housing Justice for All. The NANPAC is in support of the following legislation: Emergency Tenant Protection Act, Good Cause Eviction Protections, Housing Access Voucher Program, Rent Guidelines Board Reform, Social Housing Development Authority, and Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act. Join Join the fight. Save our homes, our power. The National Action Network Political Action Committee is a forum to discuss issues that affect the membership, as well as inform members about current legislation on the city, state, and federal level. The Nan PAC is also a forum to recruit and train volunteers for political activities. Our meetings are held on every fourth Saturday of the month right here at the House of Justice. It is the goal of this committee to provide the network with a platform that will identify our agenda and issues, embrace and promote them in the faith, community, labor, and political arena. If you or anyone else you know would like to be a part of the Political Action Committee, please contact Nan PAC at 877-626-4651 or 212-281-3518. All roads lead to West 145th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. Save the date. February is Black History Month 2023. The National Action Network New York City Chapter, Education, Disability, and Political Action Committees presents a Black History Month celebration at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street, right here in the village of Harlem, on the 110th birthday of Rosa Parks, civil rights pioneer, and the 24th anniversary of the murder of Amadou Diallo. That's on Saturday, February 4th, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. The 2023 Black History Month theme is Black Resistance. Our keynote speaker is our own Owen Rogers, member of the Nan Men's Auxiliary. We will have a winter clothing drive, our musical entertainment by Arnold Penix, Chairman, the Nan Arts and Culture Committee. Refreshments will be served by the Nan Welcome Committee. For further information, call Nan Education Committee at 212-690-3070. Gina Williams is the coordinator chairperson of this event. As stated, the Political Action Committee will meet for our monthly meeting at 11:30 a.m. immediately following the rally. The purpose of our meeting is planning of our Black History Month celebration with the Nan Education, Disability, and Arts and Culture Committees right here at the House of Justice. The Nan PAC supports age and place, New York City legislation, and also we will be discussing what was stated on What's on Your Mind, Administrative Code 12126. Thank you for your attention. God bless you all. God bless Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, Chairman, and the National Action Network. Have a blessed weekend. We wish you peace, justice, and blessings. Stay healthy and safe. Now tune in for Attorney Michael Hardy. Go in peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace.
All right, thank you, Dawn Jones. Right now, brothers and sisters, you know, our musical director is in the house, the Change Choir is in the house, and our soloist, Tisha Hunter, is coming to you right now.
Praise the Lord, everybody. If you know God has been bringing you through, come on and clap your hands. Put me through this. Hey, you brought me through that. Oh, Lord, I'm grateful to you. Help me say, you brought me through this. Oh, you brought me through that. And Lord,
Letitia Hunter, all under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, she's been fighting for us in the trenches for many years, and now she's fighting for us as the senator representing the great village of Harlem. She's coming to you to talk about the Grieving Families Act. It's New York State Senator Cordell Clear.
Good morning, everyone, and I am grateful today to be here. Grateful to God as He brings us through trauma after trauma. I know all our hearts are heavy today and go out to our people in Memphis. But I'm here today to talk to you about the Grieving Families Act. This bill passed in both chambers of the New York State legislature last year and is currently still on the desk of our governor to be signed. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about it. The Grieving Family Act is law in 49 other states, and it recognizes the true worth of individuals and their families who suffer from tragedy of wrongful death, such as medical malpractice, on the job, fatality, or any other act of negligence. The current statute was written pre-Civil War and has the effect of doubly devaluing the lives of Black people and women, among others, by allowing damages and wrongful death to be based upon salary only and no other factors. That means that your grandmother, your son, your college student, a housewife, for example, are a victim of negligence. The surviving family can only collect lost wages. But that grandmother is the glue to a family. She's the matriarch. That housewife is a nurturer and a caregiver. That student, a year away from graduating, is the hope of the family. Are their lives not valuable too? The way it's set up, your father's an investment banker. My father is a janitor. I'm only going to get the salary of the janitor, whereas the investment banker's family will get more money. That's not justice. That's not fair. Pain and suffering are worth something. Love and companionship are worth something, especially in our community. So I'm here today to just emphasize that the current law is inhumane and cruel. An enactment of the Grieving Families Act is necessary as a matter of morality, equity, humanity, and justice. Every life has a value, holds value, and is valuable. Some say that the Grieving Families Act will increase lawsuits, but I think the very opposite will occur. The enactment of this law will send a message to all of those who act negligent with impunity that such conduct will not be tolerated and thus increase safety and prevent avoidable deaths in the first place. We are urging the governor to sign this bill, which normally would have died on December 31st had it not been signed, but we went into an agreement and a conversation where we were granted another 30 days. Those 30 days are up on Monday, this coming week. My staff is here, if y'all could raise your hands. Tone, all the way in the back with the hat, he's standing up. We have letters that we'd like you to sign and fill out that we're going to hand deliver to our governor. We are still working. I'm going to fight for this bill till the very end. And even if we don't get it signed this year, I'm going to go back in and fight for it again because it is that important. It is that our lives are important. Now, this is not my bill. This bill was written by Senator Brad Hoylman-Segal. But I had a personal experience in my own life where I lost my son a year ago due to negligence. And when I got into, shortly after losing him, I was elected to the state senate and I asked about this legislation and found out that the bill already existed. It had not moved in over a decade. We were able to fight and get it through both the Assembly and the Senate. And it is now up to our governor to sign it. The people have spoken. This is what we wanted. This is what is fair. This is what is right. This is what is just. So I thank all of you for your support today. in advance. I ask that you go, C-Tone, please fill out this. We have to fight for this, and oftentimes when things like this affect us, we're not the powerful insurance companies. We're not the powerful lawyers. We don't have the big connections. But just think about how many families would be impacted by this if we were to get this passed. So we have to fight for them and for ourselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator Clear. Right now, brothers and sisters, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. and sisters, it is our honor and privilege today to have as our inspirational word speaker, the Reverend Steffi Bartley, Senior Pastor of New Hope Baptist Church in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and of course our Northeast Regional Director of National Action Network and the Director of the Nan Tech Center. Right now, Reverend Steffi Bartley.
No justice. No justice. Clap your hands all over the building. It is always an honor to be in such a place as this, to be in the presence of our founding president, Reverend Al Sharpton, our general counsel, Michael Hardy, and all of Nan's staff, the daughters, and all of you that are here, all of you that are listening. I just wanted to give you this short inspiration message as we are watching so many breaking news that are happening throughout our country. I want to declare this breaking news to you that is found in the 118th Psalm. And the reason why I want to share this with you, because there's something about declaring something. But when you declare something, I think you ought to declare it loud. As we've been watching all over the country, Reverend Sharpton in the loud mouth. The reason why I think it is so impactful is because he's speaking it out loud and speaking it with authority. I say that because Job writes in the 22nd chapter, verse 28, it says, when we declare something, it is established for us. And when we see how it shall come to fruition, we also declare a thing, and it will establish for you. So light will shine on your ways. I just wanted to take that thought. As I was thinking on this, I began to think about our everyday life. So many times we go to bed, and when we wake up in the morning, we have no idea of what that day is going to bring. And so based on God's word, we should start our day declaring it for the Lord and rejoicing and knowing that he is in control. We put our day, our condition, our situation, our well-being, and we go to bed and we wake up and we ought to know that God is in control. I say that because this particular passage of scripture that I'm reading from Psalms 118, as Sister Dawn Jones read earlier, and that was, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. That ought to be a declaration. I just want to give y'all some breaking news that this is the day, not the enemy's day, but this is the Lord's day. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to rejoice and I'm going to be glad in it. In fact, I always say this in New Jersey, I have 10 reasons to give God praise and glory. Reason number one, he woke me up this morning and started me on my day. Reason number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he woke me up this morning and started me on my day. Have I got anybody here today that just want to declare that he woke us up this morning and started us on our way? And that's why when I get up in the morning, I got to give him praise, I got to give him glory, because every time I think about the goodness of the Lord and what he's done for me, it puts clapping in my hands, it puts stomping in my feet. I wish I had a few here in Harlem this morning that just didn't mind standing on your feet. Help me give God praise and glory, because this is the day that the Lord has made. And I don't care what the enemy says, but I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. Look at somebody and tell them you ought to be giving God praise and glory. So many times people see your glory, but they don't know your story. Am I talking to anybody that God has been good to? God has made ways. Somebody ought to say it one more time. This is the day that the Lord has made. my little hoopty that I'm driving, and I went over the Lincoln and went over this way, and I just started thinking about how good God's been to us. Oh, Ashley, I started to think about where I used to be and where I am now. I started to think about the people that wrote me off, said that I would never amount to anything. Every Sunday morning, I tell my church, look at somebody and tell them, how do you like me now? Because God has been good to me. Am I talking to anybody here this morning that God has been good to? In closing, I was reading this particular passage of scripture of Michael Hardy, and it reminded me of Nehemiah and Ezra. It reminded me of them because I believe this here is associated with them. It is at that time when Nehemiah and Ezra was building the wall and the gates. And it was there that it was those that mocked them, ridiculed them, and then even threatened them. But then Nehemiah looked at them and the work that he was doing and said, I can't come down because I'm doing a good work. I'm doing a good job. And I'm not going to let no devil in hell stop us from doing what we've been doing. In fact, when I was a little boy, the old folks used to sing the song, I'm not going to let nobody turn me around. No liar, no thief, nobody will turn me around. Thank y'all so much. I just got some breaking news one more time. This is the day that the Lord has made.
The Reverend Steffi Bartley, Senior Pastor at New Hope Baptist Church, Elizabeth, New Jersey, and our Northeast Regional Director. Right now, under the direction of Minister Tyrone Richardson, the Change Choir. is the Change Choir under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Want you to get on your feet, brothers and sisters. Our president and founders coming to you right now, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you, tell him you love them. Community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that they called the Black Wall Street, where they had built their own businesses and built their own institutions. And it was a community of successful blacks, even in the era of Jim Crow. A white female lied on a male that was working downtown Tulsa, and they went to try and harm this young man. And some of the blacks in Black Wall Street came to defend the young man. And they came by the thousands and mowed down, bombed, and destroyed Black Wall Street for standing up defending this innocent young black man. Down through the years, there were 3 or 4 or 5 survivors. It got down to 2 that had seen that horrific night. And just last year, in their over 100 years old, we went to Tulsa, and those 2 survivors sat there and watched the President of the United States talk about how wrong the massacre was at Wall Street. I sat there with those 2 elderly, some of you seen the pictures of me talking to them, over 100 years old. And I thought about how we cannot have the audacity to give up. We cannot have the nerve to back up. These people waited all of their lives, but they never gave up, because the race isn't given to the swift, nor is it given to the strong, but those that endure and know your change will come. Your change will come. Your change. Your change will come. Your change will come. Your
march, we go to Selma, Alabama, and we march with those that had marched in the 60s. We have a commemoration march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And I would go every year. Some years I would speak at the church that was the headquarters. I spoke last year at Brown Chapel. And that is where Dr. King and that generation would gather. One of the great honors in my life was to march across that Edmund Pettus Bridge, arm in arm with John Lewis, who was one of those that was beaten on that bridge in March of 1965. When they started across that bridge in 65, blacks had no protection for their right to vote. They had no way around the schemes to their right to vote. We hear about Don Jones and our political action committee. They had no political action committees then, but they kept marching. And they beat John Lewis on that bridge. They beat Hosea Williams on that bridge. They tear gassed them. But I was able to just a couple of decades later march with him across that bridge because he never stopped. He never stopped marching. And John Lewis went from a hospital person to a member of Congress and was able to see a black president and a black female vice president. If you don't stop marching, if you don't stop raising up the banner, you'll change your change will come. Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem, and you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and many of you that watch us live all over the country at various media platforms where we are, I'm happy and honored to be with you another Saturday morning to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, and give our little orchestra some, give Chris and the band some. Certainly we enjoyed Reverend Steffi Bartley from New Hope in Elizabeth, New Jersey, giving us that inspirational word this morning. Let me say also before I go into my remarks that we were informed and happy to hear from our state senator, Claire, as she laid out the Grieving Families Act that she's supporting and asking all of us to sign. I want everybody to do that and to do what is necessary to support this passing of this act. because I think that when she raises the particulars, it is important that the governor understand that we support our state senator, and she supports us. And come on, Senator Harlan, you don't have to sit in the back. I know you're late, but I'm not going to punish you. It is his bill, and give her a hand, Senator Brad Harlan. It is his bill that he's introduced. I think it's an important bill, and you know, Senator Claire, Brad, if anybody, she tell us that we gotta act nice, then when they come to us, we raise right. She, you know, she tells us our instructions. So she said, be on your best behavior today, Reverend. I'm supporting Brad's bill, so I'm supporting Brad's bill. Cordell got it like that up in her district. Give Cordell another hand. Also, our assembly member, Eddie Gibbs. Come on, stand up. Let me also thank all of you that participated and helped. We had a very successful legal night on Thursday night. Attorney Hardy and our group of lawyers that on a monthly basis sits and answers a lot of legal questions. You'd be surprised at how many people just don't know their legal rights or their options. And they don't have $50, $75 to go and ask a lawyer just some information. You get it here free once a month. And this is a concept that Attorney Hardy started how many years ago now? 13. About 13 years. And now we do it. Now we do it in our chapters all over the country, and it's very effective. Let's welcome Impact TV that we're live. And I also want to say this was the second week I'm taking parental pride here of my daughter's show, Sharpton Sisters. And they had Whoopi Goldberg made an appearance. I ain't been able to get Whoopi Goldberg on my show. Me and Whoopi gonna have to have a Color Purple meeting about this. Glad also to have the chair of our Harlem Chamber of Commerce, Lloyd Williams. I said Lloyd Dick. Stand up, Lloyd Williams. We in every generation, in every era of our sojourn in America, there are those issues that capture what it is that we are faced with and that must be resolved. For one era, we had to deal with the problem of slavery. Not just a problem, but it was the most vicious and dehumanizing form of slavery known to man. There have been other forms of slavery, but none where you were robbed of your family. You gotta remember when we were brought here as slaves, we were separated, children from their parents, wives from their husbands, and we were robbed of our own identity where we were named after our masters. I spoke this week for Senator Gillibrand. She had a faith leaders summit in Washington, over 100 ministers from around the state. And Wednesday night, I spoke for our board member, national board member, Reverend Dr. Johnny Green in Impact. And they had several hundred ministers from around the state. Very impactful and great gathering. Give Johnny Green and him a hand. In fact, that's Cordell's church. Yeah, I know. I remember when I preached there, you was in the amen corner. You thought I didn't see you. You wasn't even in the Senate yet. I remember. Yeah, I'm about, me and Hardy about the same age, but he's, you know, he forgets more than I do. And I was telling them at the gathering that Senator Gillibrand had, the story that many of you know where they had done a whole background on my family tree and found that my great-grandfather was a slave in South Carolina, owned by the family that produced Strom Thurmond, and Alexander Sharpton, who married Strom Thurmond's great aunt, owned my great-grandfather. And I told the story to tell the story that every time I write my name, Cordell, I realize that's not my name. That's the name of those that owned my great-grandfather. I don't know my name. You don't know your name. We're named after what our property brand was. Yet we fought through that. Then went through an era of Reconstruction, where because we fought in the Union Army, which we had to fight for the right to get in, and defeated the Confederates. Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing those enslaved in the slave states, not in the northern states. And we were freed and were able to fight and use the Reconstruction era to put over 25 blacks in the Congress. We went through the Reconstruction era. But then because the Confederates Navy gave up and they fought back and was able to recapture the country, Tilden Hayes compromised, they backed the troops out of the South, and we went through the era of white terrorism, Ku Klux Klan, White Citizens Council, all the way into the 20th century. The NAACP was founded fighting lynching. That's right. Urban League after that. We went through that all the way until Jim Crow, and where we had to deal with segregation and denied public accommodations and denied a right to vote. 1954, Brown versus Board of Education began to turn that cycle around. 55, Voting Rights Act, all the way until 55 was the Montgomery boycott, all the way till we fought and broke Jim Crow with the 64 Civil Rights Act and the voting with 65. What I'm saying is every generation, every era, we've had to face some dominant challenge. Yes. We were brought here to be enslaved. We built the country, never got paid. They tried to make a deal at one point to say, well, let's send them back to Africa, but the chain had been so broken. There was nowhere to send us because they couldn't handle us if we did go back. And we had built a country. Why would we walk away and give you something we built and you enjoy the fruits of our labor? But then we get into the 21st century. And part of what we face this century, that we have faced as long as we've been here, but now it has gotten to a critical point where we're going to have to deal with it, just like in 200 years to deal with slavery. It is time for us to stop and come to terms with policing in America. The definition, the defining issue in the 21st century is going to be policing and voting. Yes. And no matter how much they try to run away from it, it keeps coming back, because unless you change the laws, you're just going to keep going from one incident to the next. we formed this organization. Next month, 32 years ago, right here in Harlem. One of the first things we did was I had to go to Los Angeles and lead marches around the beating of Rodney King. I remember a Good Friday that we took a cross, and I took that cross and hundreds of people and led the march on police headquarters in Los Angeles around the beating of Rodney King. And the nation was shocked at seeing that black and white video of police beating Rodney King senselessly over a traffic violation. 1991. Yeah. I remember I stayed close to Rodney. I spoke at his funeral, came and did my radio show. And here I am now in 2023. And I'm looking at another video, this in color, where I'm seeing another black man being beat to death. Rodney didn't die. This is worse. It's beat to death with no mercy on no crime that they can even find that he had committed. And to make it even more egregious, beat by 5 black cops. Did you think, because you was black, we wouldn't say nothing? Did you think that you would hide behind your blackness? I want to say loud and clear that we will fight black cops, white cops, any color cops that commit crimes against us. I talked the other day to the parents. I've been talking to them every day. I talked to them about an hour and a half this morning. They'll be on my television show this evening at 5 o'clock on MSNBC. And one of the things that I said to the parents is that what is stunning to me is that if you watch the tape, what they're doing and what they're saying is 2 different things. They're grabbing him, they got control of him, but they keep saying, give us your hands, give us your hands, let's cuff you. They are holding his arms. He's about 140 pounds, there's 5 of them, they could handcuff him, but what they were trying to do is, since they knew they had on body cameras, they were trying to set up a cover-up while they were committing the act. Which means they were doing what they were doing intentionally. How you gonna tell somebody? First of all, they go up to his car, grab him out of the car, and never ever address what is the crime. He said, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. They grab him and start beating him. He runs. Runs for his life. Well, if somebody grabbed you out the car and hit you, and you know what police will do, you'd run too. But even if you try to say he shouldn't have run, you don't beat a man to death. An unarmed man that you know was no threat to you. There's no excuse for what happened to this young man. The problem is that if they did it to Nichols, they've been doing it all along. Maybe they didn't die. And the problem is that with Nichols dying, this has brought it where we're going to deal with it. And I'm telling you, we are going to deal with the death of Nichols. Now, they have what they call the Scorpion unit. And they have these special units in several cities. Now, if the units are set up to deal with especially egregious crimes, then why are you dealing with an alleged traffic violation in the first place? Special unit don't deal with speeding. But then the police chief said that they've looked at the tapes, they can't even find evidence of him recklessly driving. So you just arbitrarily decide you're going to pull this guy over and start dealing with this? Then none of the police, and none of them that even arrived, acted as though they were even in any way, shape, or form questioning them. They start piling on. I'm glad you got him. Cheering them on. Every one of them need to face the bar of justice. And I watched as this boy begged for his life. All I want to do is go home. I got a call last night from Philonis Floyd, George Floyd's brother. And he said, Rev, I can't hardly sleep. Because as I watched the tape of Nichols calling on his mother, it reminded me of when George was laying there on the ground with the knee on his neck, calling for his mother. Something about when you get to that state where you somewhere between life and death, the only thing you had, the only comfort, the only refuge, the only strength you had was to call on the black woman that helped and nursed you through. And despite the fact that this mother had to deal with the pain of her son beat to a pulp and dying 3 days later, she stood up there yesterday and said that I'm praying for these officers. She showed a mercy that was not extended to her. She called for peace. Let me tell you something. We are going to continue protesting, but we're going to do it nonviolently as we always have done. Anybody that engages in violence are helping the police get away with what they did. Because what they want to do is see violence so they can say, see, this is why the police had to do what they did. You see how out of control they are. Don't play into the narrative that will end up helping them defend what they did. They're going to have some provocateurs that's going to try to get in our marches and in our protests. Sit them down. Tell them, no, not here. We're going to respect what this family has asked for and the strategy of the lawyers, and we are going forward and be as fervent and passionate as we can. We are not going to stop being angry, but we're not going into violence. The people talking to me, are the reverends, are going to be violence? There was already violence. If it wasn't violence, we wouldn't be having a funeral Wednesday morning. The violence was done by the police, not by the protesters. So Wednesday morning, we're having the funeral at the Mississippi Boulevard Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. The pastor of the church, Reverend Turner, is the secretary to the National Board of National Action Network. And we helped to get him to have the church open. I will be doing the eulogy. And one of the things, I'll tell you two things before I do the eulogy. One is that we need to examine and break down all these special units across this country. We need to stop empowering these units that are undefined and feel like they can do whatever they want to do. Secondly, we talked to Senator Cory Booker last night. We need to bring back and reintroduce the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Why am I saying that? Is because in that act, which we only missed by a few votes, it would end qualified immunity, Cordell, where police would know they can be sued for their actions. Why would that be effective, Reverend Al? Because if a policeman understood that he could be personally liable, or she could be personally liable, they would behave differently. Their wife would tell them in the morning, now be careful, even if you get angry, because we can lose the house. And we can lose the car if you go up there cutting up. When police feel they have no skin in the game, they'll act any kind of way they want. Well, there are few people that work anywhere that they are not personally liable. So what makes them different? And they should not be able to control their body cameras. That George Floyd bill, had it been law, might have made some of these police think twice. This U.S. Senate and this Congress needs to deal with these civil rights issues of these times, and that is the George Floyd bill and the Policing Act. And we're going to come out of Memphis and fight like we never fought before to pass federal policing law. I know some thought we would not be organizing because they were black cops. Yeah. But we told you all along that this movement is not anti-white, it's anti-wrong. We're not anti-white police brutality, we're anti-police brutality. And we're not anti-police because we still the same. We meet here the other week at the summit, and I'm working on how we deal with a lot of the criminal element in our community. And we not go back up off of that. I'm fighting the cops that are wrong and the robbers. But you do not have a right to criminalize people by killing them. We are in a community where we got to worry about folk in blue jeans and blue uniforms. We want everybody to respect the law. Right, when you're talking about Reverend Al all of a sudden want to fight crime. I always fought crime. In the 80s, it was us that went painting the crack houses telling y'all to bust the crack dealers. I didn't just start fighting crime. Well, no, but you've been on police. I've been on police crimes. Choking somebody to death is a crime. Putting your knee on somebody's neck for 9 minutes is a crime. And beating somebody to death in Memphis is a crime. I'm a crime fighter. Killing Placide in Englewood, New Jersey is a crime. Bernard should be alive today. Y'all are selective crime fighters. You only fight crimes that you want to fight. But you don't want to fight police crime. We fight them all. Whether they are those that have done wrong in the community against innocent people, or whether it's police crimes that are crimes need to be fought by real crime fighters. And your blackness ain't gonna stop us from fighting you. These 5 cops not only disgraced their badge, they disgrace our race. And not only are we going to be with this family on Wednesday to do the funeral, just like I was with families down through the years. I'll be in Memphis for the trial of these cops with that family. I'll be with that family when the cameras are gone. Because we want to show them that just because they were black, you may be my color, but you're not my kind. President Biden talked to the family yesterday. We've been talking, as I said, to members of the Senate and the White House. We want to reintroduce this legislation. We cannot just keep going from one incident to the next. All of these have to lead to federal law, or it's going to keep happening. People said, I thought it was over with George Floyd. It may have been if they passed a George Floyd bill, if they had passed a law in the state of New York. The family, Eric Garner, fought. National Action Network was with him, got an Eric Garner law. State law now. His daughter, Emerald's in the back. She thought I didn't see her. It became law. You ain't seen nobody choking nobody in New York lately. Because there's an Eric Garner law. You need a law that makes these policemen understand they are not above the law. They enforce the law. What gives somebody the mentality that they can just violate somebody like that? I mean, when you watch that tape, the audacity to think that you could just punch somebody around and holding them up and one just throwing, said I threw some haymakers at him. Yeah. I mean, verbally said this. I'm trying to knock him out. For what? Even if you felt he was doing the traffic, you gonna knock somebody out? But it shows a mentality that we've not put in check. Right. Police are to serve and protect. They are not supremacist over us to do whatever they want to do at the scene of wherever they want to do it. Reason I take this so personal is we fought to get police, to get blacks in the police department. We marched to get blacks and browns in the police department. And you got the nerve to get in a department and put on a badge and a gun and treat us as bad as others did. We thought if we got you in, that you would stand up to treat us like you treat others. But you are now imitating the worst in policing, so you're going to pay the same price that others pay. The other thing that is very revealing is this happened January 7th. This beating that led to a killing happened January 7th. He died 3 days later in the hospital. January 26th, they released the videotape in public. Is that right? So from January 7th to January 26th, I didn't go to school where Hardy went, but that's 19 days. Explain to me how in 19 days they could put out the videotape, indict the cops, and arrest them in 19 days. But in all these other cases, it took y'all years to come out. So there's a new precedent set now. Because this black woman police chief done messed y'all up now. Because she said, I'm not waiting on nothing. Arrest them, fire them. You now got a new clock on police accountability. We don't want to hear no year investigation. She represents something we can be proud of. She fired them before they were even charged with a crime. She's raised the bar on police accountability, and we won't let that bar be lowered again. Days. The whole world watching the tape. 19 days. They've been arrested, fired. Got to go get your lawyer. Which means it never took you all that time. How many times ever we had to sit up, we're investigating this, we're looking at that. Summer turned to fall. Fall turned to winter, we still looking. No, you've been procrastinating. You've been jiving, you've been trying to work your way out. But now we know it don't take all that time. And we're going to keep that clock from now on. And for every black cop that wants to act like those five, there's a black woman chief telling you we ain't going to have it. Our generation, we didn't choose it, but it's our situation. Policing and voting has been the assignments that we have. And we keep trying to run away from it. But we're going to have to deal with this. And the only way to deal with it is we got to have federal law and enforce it. They're getting ready to have, in a few months, everybody going to start talking about 24 and the Senate races and the Congress up. We're going to set the stage now. That 24, you have to deal with our voting rights and our police rights, or we're going to be organizing all over this country to put people in the Senate and the Congress that will vote us our federal rights. Ain't nothing more important than that. Let me tell you something, when they pulled Nichols over, they didn't know who he was. That's right. That could have been your child. Yes. That could have been you. This is a 39-year-old man with a 4-year-old son. Worked with his stepdaddy. Would come home every day for lunch. Mother would fix them lunch. This wasn't no thug. This wasn't no hoodlum. And even if it was, you don't have a right to beat them to death. You don't beat folks to death in other neighborhoods. And I believe if that had been a young white boy, them 5 black cops wouldn't have treated him like that. One person said to me, well, at least it ain't about race. I said, the race part of it is those black guys thought they could get away with doing it to a black guy. You know you couldn't get away with doing that in Tennessee to a white guy. You will find out you ain't getting away with it doing it to a black guy either. It is everywhere in the Bible. God calls people to operate in their time. Teach us. Bible's one continual story. Yes. God didn't call David to bring the children of Israel across the Red Sea. They'd already crossed. Come on. God didn't tell Joshua to go build an ark. Noah had already done that. They already been the flood. You keep acting on things, Reverend, that has already been done. You're an expert on what God did with Moses. Like God don't expect nothing out of you. Think about that now. If God wanted you to be just the expert on Moses, he'd have had you born in Moses' time.
I hear you.
God wants you to apply the principles of righteousness in your time. You are not in the time of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You want to learn the lessons from that, but you cannot activate those times. You're not in the time of St. Paul. You can't go get Paul and Silas out of jail. They've been out of jail. You can't go get John on the island of Patmos. But you can get George Floyd in Minneapolis. You can get Tyrese Nichols in Memphis. Stand up for the challenges of your time, or sit down and admit that you're too scared to stand up and be what God wants you to be. It's time to represent God in the time in which we live. Talk about judgment. What you gonna say? What did you do with the gifts I gave you? Well, you know, Lord, I told them about Moses. That we know what Moses did. What did you do?
What did you do?
When they were beating folk to death, my children. What did you do? When they were choking us to death, what did you do? When they put the knee on the neck of my children. Don't tell me what Moses did. Moses did his part. And I'll reward him. I don't need you to recite that. I need to give an account of what you did with the gifts I gave you.
Yes, sir.
That's why I love that scripture, Esther, where Esther was in the king's house.
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Her uncle Mordecai sent message saying that they are planning to kill our people. They're planning genocide on your people. And you have found favor somehow. Sometimes God will put you places that you didn't even plan or strategize. You find favor. You found favor in the king's house. And I want you to know that they're plotting right now the genocide of your people. And I want you to go to the king and tell him what they're planning. Tell him so you can save your people. Esther said word back, I don't know if we can do that because you can't break rank. You can't break protocol. You can't. I'm here because I'm a lovely looking maid. Yeah. And I can't go to the king. You can be killed for doing that. Like some of y'all get in these positions, in these corporate positions, in these political positions, and you forget why you're there. And you all of a sudden follow a protocol. But protocol didn't get you hired. Protest got you hired. And Mordecai sent back and said, no, you got to go to the king. And he said something that ought to resonate in all of our minds, said, maybe you've come.
Yeah.
For such a time as this. Maybe the reason you're in the king's house was such a time as this. And I'm talking to the preachers and the leaders all over that's watching us on Impact. Maybe God gave you the gift for such a time as this. Maybe you got a following. Maybe you got a congregation for such a time as this. This is not about entertaining your folk. This is about emancipating and liberating your folk. Esther sent word back that I'm going to fast and pray about this.
Yes, sir.
Said, Uncle Mordecai, I'm going to fast. I'm going to turn my plate down 3 days and see what I get. And she fasted and she prayed.
Yes, sir.
And somehow in it, sometimes you got to work on yourself. You know, sometimes, Cordell, things can be hard to just swallow. Sometimes you got to work on your inner strength, because inside is what makes you externally strong. You got to deal with all of the self-doubt. You got to deal with the naysayers. You got to deal with people that say you shouldn't do this. It's going to hurt your career. You shouldn't do that. You're going to lose your position. But sometimes you got to stop and figure out who you are.
Yes, sir.
No matter what position you are, you got to remember who you are. I don't care what I get, TV show, radio show, all of this stuff, president coming out stuff. That ain't who I am. That's where I've gone, but that ain't who I am. I'm still that boy. That a single black woman raised me on welfare in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And God didn't bring me that way for not remembering where he brought me from. So maybe he brought me to be there for a Nichols family. Maybe he brought me to be there for a Gardner family. Maybe I've come like Esther for a time like this. So Esther sent word back after 3 days and said, I'm decided what I'm going to do.
What?
I'm going to see the king. I'm going to break protocol. I'm going around what is acceptable. I'm going to stand up for my people to see the king. And if I perish, let me perish. But I'm going to see the king. Somebody said it's dangerous fighting police all over the country. Al, you better sit down and be quiet sometime. You done got away with getting stabbed. Sometimes you need to just leave alone and let alone. But I got Esther feeling this morning. I'm on my way to Memphis Wednesday. And if we perish, let us perish. But I'm going to fight for federal laws. I'm going to fight for the Placid family. I got to speak up and cry loud and spare not and lift up my voice like a trumpet in Zion. Come on. Somebody said, Reverend, how are we going to finance this? We already done called a march in Washington in August on this federal policing law. Martin Luther King III, and I've already announced it August 26th. He said, where are we going to raise the money? I don't know. We don't get government money. We don't get foundation money. But I have the faith that God will make a way somehow. And I keep reading that scripture. I lift my eyes to the hills. I can't call Wall Street. I look to the hills. I don't know corporate CEOs, but I look to the hills. Because my help cometh from the Lord who preserves me. He brought me from a mighty long way. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I'm his own. I will, Bartley, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endure forever. He'll make a way. He'll make a way. He'll make a way. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. All I want from Jesus is give me a little more grace. That's all I need to run this race. A little more grace. Grace when you talk about me. Grace when you stand alive. Grace when you really There was a storm one day.
My mind.
As a slave trader was bringing his cargo to the States. The storm wrecked the ship. And those chained slaves that had been humming a melody all the way across the Atlantic was bolted to each other. And they kept humming this melody. The slave trader went down and seen they were still there. Loosened them and saw they didn't try to kill him and throw him overboard in this torrential storm. And he went back up and sat at the side of the pieces of the ship that remained intact. And he wrote the words to the melody of the slave song. Slave didn't write no lyrics. They just had this melody that they would hum. Didn't have no Hammond organ. Didn't have no keyboards. Didn't have no guitars. But there was a rhythm in their voice and a rhythm in their chest that made this slave trader not be able to get it out of his system. And he sat down and wrote the words to apply to this melody. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Blind, but now I see. People ask me, why you sing that slave trader song? Because it showed that even a slave trader gets encaptured by the melody of people seeking to be free. God got a way of breaking through cold hearts. And he wrote words that we didn't have, but we had the melody that he didn't have. And he described something that we needed. We couldn't have made it with no regular grace. We couldn't have made it with just some customary grace. We needed amazing grace. Grace that'll make you make it when you don't know your mama's name. Grace that'll make you make it when your family's been broke down. Grace that'll help you from the back of the bus to the White House. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Blind, but now I see.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. We want justice. We want justice. Everybody's singing. Sing it for Tyree. Tyree Nichols. Everybody's singing. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today in the auditorium that never joined National Action Network. You come to rallies, you watch us on television, you watch or listen to radio, but never became a member of the organization. If you're here and never joined and want to sign up this morning, just come right down to me and we'll sign you up right now. Just come right to me and we'll sign you up. If you're listening on radio or watching on television, you can call and join on the phone at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, and you can become a member right on the phone. Come on, everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Everybody sing it. One last time, one last time, everybody sing it. All right. Thank you. We're getting ready. As we get ready to go off the air, we get ready to raise our offering. Want everybody, you that are in radio land, you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can give right on our homepage. Don't say I was going to give, I wasn't at the rally this week. You got a laptop at home or whatever it is you're listening to, and go to nationalactionnetwork.net and give and support the organization. Again, this week I'll be headed to Memphis Tuesday. We'll be doing the eulogy at the funeral services Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. And Reverend Turner is the pastor. And the family, again, the mother and stepfather will be on my show at 5 o'clock, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on MSNBC, 5 p.m. Eastern time today. And I'll be dealing with other members of the Senate and Congress people all today and on tomorrow's show. But we intend to build this up. And of course, at the funeral, I'll be announcing the specifics on what we're going to do around this federal legislation. All right, let us give like we mean it. The only ones I don't want no offering from Holliman or Cordell. I don't want no politician getting investigated for giving money to Nan, unless it's personal money. And I don't want no money from the media, because I don't want y'all be saying that I shook y'all down. So y'all get all the pictures y'all want. I don't expect y'all to give nothing. She here every week. She ain't never gave anyhow. All right, I'm teasing. I like to play with the media. All right, let us give. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. I want to start. I need about 10 people that can give $100 or more to come quickly. Louis Papa, I remember, $250. Guardians, $100. Pastor Bartley, $100. Lloyd Williams, $100. Rachel Nordlinger, $100. Rodney Jones, Deacon Rodney Jones. Mr. Mayor, lost a sister, $100. Anonymous, $100. Come on, I asked for 10, I got more than 10. Somebody else got 100, come on with it. All right, 50s, 50s, 50s. Welcome committee, $50. Brother David has on purple and black with black slacks today. Men's auxiliary, $60. Minister Carolyn, $50. Brother Mallory, $50. Dawn Jones, our Political Action Committee Chair, National Board Member, $50. Miss Ewell, $50. Deacon Sam, St. Luke's Baptist Church, but he's one of our head deacons here at the House of Justice now. $50. And Brother Carlos, $100, just joined today. All right, 20s, 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 20s. Don't forget to sign so that Senator Claire can bring these to the governor now. Don't clap for her, no sign. Where they at? All right, let me just finish this. I want everybody to sit down after I do this. $1, $5, $10, whatever you have. Come on, come on, come on, come on. That's right, strut that stuff. I want Senator Claire to again give us our instructions on how we can sign the bill. Then I'm going to take in our new member who's here and then let you go. Some of y'all got to take care of your rides. You know, some folk join the network on the subway and now they're in Bentleys. So I know y'all got to rush out so they don't tow your Bentley away. But I ain't got a Bentley, so I can stay here a while. I got breaking news. There's a Bentley in the house. Breaking news, breaking news. All right, Senator Craig.
Thank you, everyone. Tone, Anthony Gray, he's right there, giving them out. Could you please sign it and return it to him? We're going to deliver those personally to the governor. We want this bill to be signed, you know, just to make it a little relevant today. I was wondering about this young man, and in his state where he has lost his life, his family can sue because grieving families is in that, the Grieving Families Act bill is in that state. In New York, his case would be worth next to nothing. So we have to make sure that we sign these bills, and not because we want compensation, because nothing can bring back, nothing can take away what happened to that family. But maybe if there was accountability, maybe if there was Grieving Families Act in place, it would stop them and avoid them from killing us and taking our lives and being negligent and being careless. So we have to do this as a matter of prevention, not just compensation. Thank you. Please sign.
All right, everybody sign. Let's bring the new member forward. Carlos Monroe, we are glad that you stepped forward to become a member of this family. We are certainly excited that you decided to join us. We need you, we want you. This is the president of the city chapter here, Bill Griffin. This is our leaders here, Katrina, and Reverend is now head of operations here, Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird. Griffith will orient you on different committees we have. You just get in and work with us. You may have ideas we haven't thought of. We want them too, and we work with you. So turn and face the audience, and let's welcome him to the National Action Network. Come on, give him a big hand. Part of the family now. Welcome him. All right. Let us all stand. We're going to sing our song and then go on to dismiss. After we dismiss, we can fist bump with each other. You can come up fist bump with me. No meetings, fist bumping. And then we move on. Glad to see Jay Sell. This is our first founding chairman of the board was her grandfather, Reverend Dr. Y.T. Walker. And she's working now for Senator Clear, and that's good because that is part of the lineage of the King movement. Wouldn't have been a march on Washington if it wasn't for Y.T. Walker. That's right. And that's his granddaughter there. All right. Amazing grace, how sweet. African people, robbed of our names, our language, our families, our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, we can accomplish what we will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Fist bump with the one you next to, fist bump me before you leave.